Hi, my name is Kevin Hoffman, and this is a video showcasing the progress that I've made during the first week of Sprint 4. So here's my to-do list. I wanted to make a pop-up template, add it to temp HTML, checkout.html, register, and account.html. And I wanted to populate the information in this pop-up with the information that was typed by the user in input forms. So really, it'll just serve as a way to review the data that some customer has inputted into the GUI. I want to give them the option to cancel submission, as well as post it and continue as normal, or cancel if they decide to cancel the submission. And I wanted to work on including pop-ups about the pricing. I didn't get to the work on the pricing this week, and that's just because I ended up having to add more tasks to work on making sure we get the GUI to the minimal viable product stage. And I'll show a little bit about the functionalities that I had to add this week in addition to the tests I had here. So if we go to short term, we can type in my user information here, and we can simulate some dummy data. This is what will actually be submitted by the middleware as an example. So it should be working okay. If we submit that, we can submit some of the dummy data that we would receive from the middleware processing, and boom, we get the garage. We can go up a floor or down a floor as well. So let's say we want spot 6 on level 0. Okay, then we get to review our information, so we get to check that off the list. We did that. And then we're presented with two options. We can leave the pop-up, or we can continue. For now, we're just going to continue, and I'll show you what happens later if we want to cancel. But to continue, we're going to simulate what the middleware would do again, which is generate an ID. So when they continue, we'll generate an ID and send it to the GUI. And here we go. We get their ID as well as confirmation of their spot number, and tell them to keep track of their ID. Cool. So that functionality is working. So in addition to getting the pop-up for the review data, I also managed to set up all the connections in order to make the middleware processing fully functional with the GUI endpoint. So any dictionary that gets posted to the HTML page that has to do with the check-in and check-out will be processed correctly now. So if we go to checkout, I can show the same thing. Let's say we enter some ID, and this is the middleware processing data we would get, or that we would receive as dummy data. If we submit this, which is again what we would get from the middleware, then yeah, so based on our ID, we can get our full name of the user, their time that they entered, the end time, and the payment due. And then they can enter all their card information, and boom, the payment is successfully paid, and it posted data to the middleware. So that's all good there. Then we have the option to close out. So let's say, for instance, that, I'm actually gonna have to change this. Let's say that we didn't have the data correct. Or no, sorry, that we want to cancel the data submission. Well, I also have that working. So let's say we get in, just pick a spot, and make this submission 5. This would all be handled normally by the middleware, but just to showcase for the simulation. Okay, cool. So we have this again, but we can actually just cancel. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I took a step too far. Okay, so if we want, let's redo that. Go to 6. And we can pick a spot. Okay, so instead of continuing, we can X out now, and that'll just ruin the submission. So in terms of functionality, I got done all the review of the pop-ups that I wanted to add. I didn't get to work on the pricing, but instead I worked on getting, canceling submissions, making it or posting it if they do want to submit, as well as hooking up all the endpoints with the middleware to make the functionality communicate properly and handle all the bugs where there's loss of information. So yeah, hopefully that covers everything.